Hello guys, the topic for today is some macroeconomic identities or terms. There are different macroeconomic terms which are used. The first, as you all know, is GDP, gross domestic product. Then there comes GNP, gross national product. Then you find out NNP, net national product. Then you find out personal income or and national income, which is NNP at factor cost. And then you understand how personal income is calculated. So let us talk about GDP. As you can understand from the sentence or from the word itself, gross, so depreciation is not included. Domestic product, whatever is produced domestically, is the final value of all goods and services produced in the domestic economy by both citizens and non-citizens. I am a citizen, you are a non-citizen. Whatever you produce, you have a business here, becomes a part of GDP. Whatever I produce becomes a part of GDP. So adding all the value added of all the citizens and non-citizens who work in the domestic economy becomes GDP. What is GNP? National product. As we can see here, national product. So GDP plus factor income earned by domestic factors of production of citizens employed in the rest of the world. People who are Indian nationals but employed in the rest of the world, whatever they produce also becomes a part of GNP. Whereas non citizens employed in India, a migrant worker who is not an Indian citizen but he's employed in India, whatever he produces, whatever uh, his value added is, that is removed from GDP to calculate GNP. That is how GNP is calculated. GDP plus factor income from citizens employed in the rest of the world minus factor income earned by non-citizens employed in domestic economy. Now there is NNP, net national product. As we did in GVA, the same applies in gross and net here as well. You deduct depreciation from GNP to measure NNP. It's a very simple formula. Now all the three that we have done here are variables are evaluated at market prices. These are all at market prices. Now it's very important to understand what is the difference between market price and factor cost, and calculate GDP at factor cost rather than calculate it at market prices. This is what we are going to do next. So here the NNP is calculated at market prices, but we want to come to factor cost. How do we do that? There are two things involved. First is indirect taxes and second is subsidies. Now in market price, when you go and buy something from the market, you pay tax in terms of indirect taxes. For example, sales tax or service tax if you buy a service. So when you pay sales tax or service tax, the value of that product or the price of the product increases. So in market price, indirect tax is already included. If you want to come to factor cost is the cost of that product before it goes to the market. What is that factor cost? You reduce that indirect tax because that is increasing the price of the product when you put it in the market. That is why to come at NNP on national income at factor cost from NNP at market price, you reduce indirect tax. See here, indirect tax has been reduced or removed. Secondly, are subsidies. Subsidies, what are the result of subsidies? When subsidies are charged on a product, they result in reduction in the price of subsidies. For example, fuel. You go and buy fuel. Uh, if the price of fuel is 50 in the market and if the government is giving subsidy worth rupees 5, the price that you pay is 45. So the price is reduced because of subsidies. The market price. The factor cost was 50. You pay 45 because of the subsidy that is included. So in order to come to factor cost, you add subsidies. Here, if you open these brackets, you will come to the same formula. NNP at market price minus indirect taxes plus subsidies. That results in NNP at factor cost. Now NNP at factor cost is also called national income. Okay, so that all is written here, you can read it later. The final one is personal income. What is personal income? Personal income is that part of national income which is received by households. Whatever the households are receiving and not others in the economy, like government, like firms, whatever the households are receiving, that part of national income is called personal income. How to calculate personal income? In personal income, from national income, you reduce the following things. You remove undistributed profits. What are undistributed profits? Profits of the firm which are not paid or which are not distributed to the owners, who are the ultimate households later in the market, are called undistributed profits. So these undistributed profits are invested back in the firm or kept as reserves. Whatever happens, that is a different story. So these undistributed profits are removed from national income to come at personal income. Then there are net interest payments made by households. Households receive certain interests on the loans that they've advanced, and they also have to pay certain interest on the loans taken by them. So when you find out the net interest payments and then you reduce or remove that from national income, you come at personal income. Then there is corporate tax. Corporate tax does not accrue to households as it is paid by firms out of profits. It is paid by firms to the government. Households are not involved. Households are not benefited. They do not receive anything out of it. So corporate tax is also removed. What are transfer payments? Remember that transfer payments are added. Transfer payments to the households from the government and firms. Transfer payments are like pensions, scholarships, prizes, for whatever for which you don't pay back. So these transfer payments which are made to the households from the government as well as the firms become a part of personal income because they're advantage to the households, and they're going to be using this money uh, for whatever they want to do in their life. So that is a part of personal income.